Hey guys, it's Trish and I'm back with day 11 of the holiday series for 2014. I have to apologize in advance. This video is a little bit longer than my other ones, and that's because I have 3 gift tags to share for you in one video. So I'm starting out with the Lawn Fawn thank you tag set, and that's the die set that coordinates with the stamp set, and so I'm just using the dies for my tags, and I'm stamping out this absolutely adorable little deer that is from Into the Woods, and I've stamped him in Memento Tuxedo black ink because I will be Copic coloring him, and I've stamped an extra one of him onto some Inka Dinka Doo masking paper because I do want to ink up the background, but I don't want to affect where I want to color with my Copics with him. So I'm taking a scrap piece of white cardstock and I'm using the Paper Smooches Borders 1 and 2 dies. You guys have seen me use this in previous videos where I like to butt up the 2 dies together. One simply creates a stitched look and the other one actually cuts out the slopey hill. And so I've done that, and I'm going to use this as my snowbank for the bottom of this particular tag, but I wanted to show you guys the look of that. So once that is done, I am peeling off my mask and covering up my deer as best as possible and really pressing that on. And I am using my Tim Holtz Distress ink in Broken China. And you guys know this is my go-to light blue sky color. So I'm using the mini ink blending tool, and I'm starting towards the bottom, and I'm not worried that it's super dark down there because it will be covered up with that white snowbank we just created. And I'm just creating a very light blue background for my tag because I want it to be a little bit scenic. So once I've finished inking that up, I'm going to go ahead and peel off the mask, and you'll see that that area was not affected by the inking, which is totally what we were going for. And so I'm going to jump in really quickly with coloring this deer. I've never colored a deer before in my whole life, so I kind of just winged it. But I went in with E50 first and just laid a nice coat all over the deer except for his ears. And now I'm going in with E35 and I'm creating a little bit of where I want the shading to be on him. And once I do that, I'm going in with E37 and creating a little bit more of that shading that we're going for. And like I said, I'm kind of just winging it. I did look up online some cartoon deer and see how they were colored or how they were shaded and kind of went off of that a little bit of a guide. But for the most part, I'm kind of just going with the flow. So you'll see there I did color in the inside of his ear with just basic R20. I'm not doing any shading on the inside of the ear. I really want him to just be the focal point. And I'm going back in with the E50 and blending out all that color because it is kind of a big jump between the 3 colors. And so I'm fading out that color. You'll see here in a minute I am going in with the E35 and I'm taking my E50 and touching the tip of the E35 and using that to blend between the colors as well, and that works really, really well, the tip-to-tip technique. And so that finishes him off, and I think he looks so cute. I can't stand it. So I'm taking next that snowy bank that we cut, and I'm putting it at the bottom of our tag, and I'm just using some basic snail adhesive for that. And then I will cut around the edges. Yeah, and nothing super fancy there, just attaching it and cutting around the edges. And then I will be stamping on the back of this tag a sentiment as well as a to and from, so that I can hang this from a gift bag or a gift. And the to, from, and joyful wishes are from the Joy to the Woods stamp set that was just recently released in the wintertime from Lawn Fawn. I just love the font of it. So to finish off this tag, of course, I need some thread. I'm using the Mistletoe Baker's Twine from Lawn Fawn. This is like a total Lawn Fawn tag. And lastly, I needed to make this Rudolph, so I used some Christmas red stickles and just squeezed it out to create kind of like a ball on his nose, and I'm setting that off to the side to let it dry, and it will be dry by the time I finish this video, so you'll see it. So I'm moving on to the second tag. This tag is using the, again, Lawn Fawn, surprise, surprise, Love You a Latte stamp set. I've gone ahead and stamped one of the mugs on, and then I also created a mask for that. I've put the mask down and stamped the saucer to the mug because I want it to be like a complete set. We're again stamping in Memento Tuxedo Black ink because we will be doing some Copic coloring, and I'm also stamping the sentiment from that stamp set. I'm also using the to and from as well on there, and I'm just, you know, got that ready to go. It's already mounted on the block. Makes it quick and easy process. So once that's all done, I'm peeling off the mask for my mug, and you'll see that it looks like the actual mug of hot chocolate is sitting on top of the saucer, which is what I was going for. And I was thinking about doing a little bit more steam coming out of it, but I thought about it and I just wanted the sentiment to be there. I didn't want anything else. So I'm going in with some Copics again for the hot chocolate, and you'll see here in a minute that I'll show you what color I'm actually using. I'm using E37 and then I believe E29 to kind of create a little bit of shading in the hot chocolate. But this is such a small area that you don't even really notice. So just going in with the lightest, the darkest, back to the lightest. And then I'm going in with my blues to color the actual mug and the saucer. And I believe I'm using BG01 as my lightest color, and then I'm going to be using BG05 as my darkest color. Yep, there it is up in the top left corner because I forgot to show it to you guys again. And I'm just coloring this like I would create any mug. I'm leaving a little bit of white off to one side to kind of make it look like it's rounded, to give it that rounded effect. And then I'm going to go back in with my BG01, and I'm going to go over just about all of it, I believe. I think I leave just a little bit of white there. And I'm going to color in the saucer with the same colors. Oh, there they are. I actually remembered to show. I'm going to color in the saucer with the same exact colors, nothing crazy. These are, again, such small images. If you're not a pro at coloring with Copics, which I am far from it, these are images that you can totally color and just fake it. Nothing is right or wrong. You just color like you feel like you should. And that's what I've been doing, and I've been doing just fine. Nobody really notices. I mean, anybody who gets your cards or tags on a gift, they're just amazed at, you know, the handmade part of it. So no stressing over these little things. So then I'm taking my warm grays, W1 and W3. I just wanted to create a little bit of a base for my hot chocolate cup, and I didn't want the marshmallows to be stark white, but then again, looking back on it, I kind of wish I did, but no big deal. So I used those on the marshmallows as well as to kind of ground my cup. And the last thing I did for this particular tag is, I was thinking about putting snowflakes on the cup, but then I changed my mind. I used some Wink of Stella Clear glitter brush pen and put that all over the cup and the saucer because we need a little sparkle on this. And I'm also using the same twine again. I'm using this on all three tags. It's the Mistletoe Lawn Fawn Baker's Twine, which I love and am obsessed with, and used it even on my Christmas cards. So yeah, so there's the second tag, and now we're moving on to the third tag. Again, I'm using Lawn Fawn products. I'm using the Lawn Fawn Deck the Halls stamp set, and I wanted to create a wreath on this tag, and so I've just traced a circle punch that I had to give me guidelines as to, not really a perfect circle, but to give me guidelines because I'm really bad at that kind of stuff. So I'm using quite a different sizes of the pine branches, and I'm using 3 different colors. I'm using Simon Says Stamp Green Leaf, Simon Says Stamp Green Apple, Olive, and then eventually you'll see me use Dark Chocolate. But I'm just going through and randomly stamping these pine branches. And I started making a mess, so I used some scratch paper behind it. So that was the green apple. Now I'm moving on to, I believe, the green leaf, and I'm going in with a smaller branch, and I'm stamping in between. And then I think I go in with the tiniest of all the branches, and I'm doing the olive color, and I go in between each of the branches at that point. I just want it to be pretty full. It doesn't have to be anything perfect because, again, this is such a small area of the tag that nobody would really notice. So I just kind of filled it out how I liked it. If this olive green was too dark for you, you could go back in with the green apple and the green leaf and just keep layering those branches. But once I had that done, I decided that I wanted to put a couple of the pine cones on my wreath, and so I believe I'm using just one size. Oh, it looks like I went in with even more of the green apple in areas that I felt like weren't exactly full enough, which is fine. I mean, you just keep stamping until you feel like it's perfect. So now I'm going in, like I said, with that pine cone. I'm taking the dark chocolate, and of course you need to have an odd number to be appealing to the eye, and that is the case for myself. And so I've done 3 of the pine cones in that Simon Says stamp dark chocolate. And you'll see here that I made some boo-boos. I wasn't really super careful, and I have some inking around the edges. I'm not sweating it, no big deal. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. But I do want to make this tag feel a little bit more rustic, just because that's the feel I was looking for on this one. So you'll see here in a minute, I'm actually going to erase the pencil mark that I made, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to making this feel a little bit more rustic. I'm using the Tim Holtz Distress Ink and Antique Linens. It's a very, very light, almost creamy, yellowy brown color, and this is what reminds me of like distress or antique, hence the name Antique Linens. So I'm just inking around the edges just to give it that older feel, and I like the way it turned out. I kept it really stark white in the center and just really focused around the edges. And then next I'm going to use the same stamp set and stamp the sentiment Deck the Halls. So I'm going to prep my tag with the EK Success powder tool. I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Versamark ink, and then I'll be using, as you see there, the Ranger Superfine Detailed Gold embossing powder. I wanted this to be really classic with the gold. And once I have heat set that, you'll see me use, again, the Mistletoe Twine. And this one I didn't stamp any to or from on the back. I just kept it really plain and simple. I thought that I could put a little bit of a greeting on the back, handwritten, and then just put my name, maybe for a coworker or even a family friend. So I didn't want to add that onto the back. And that completes my 3 tags for today, 3 in 1 for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to check out the description box down below for a list of supplies and direct links to them. And I will see you guys real soon for the last day of my holiday series for 2014. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.